This is BrandJet, a new lifetime deal on AppSumo, and despite the name, there's actually nothing about it related to branding. It's actually a cold outreach platform with a bunch of other tools bundled together. This is what a BrandJet account looks like. You can see here we've got campaigns for doing automated outreach. It has a CRM, so after people engage with you, you can keep track of them either in the CRM or through your inbox if they write messages back. There's a lead finder, so you can fill up your pipeline with leads. And there's even social monitoring. So we can either use mention tracking, so we can connect this up to all the social media platforms. You see the icons here to look for certain keywords. Or if you have an advanced tier on AppSumo, we can do AI monitoring. Throughout the rest of this video, I'm gonna try out every feature in detail and show you exactly how it works, what works well, and what still needs a little bit more refinement. Honest opinions here, as always. I definitely will not sugarcoat anything. You should know this video is sponsored by AppSumo. They have absolutely no say in what I say about BrandJet. AppSumo is my favorite place to shop for tools online, so definitely head over there. They've got great deals. I just did a review on Email It last week. I highly recommend checking this out. It's currently on sale. If you're an AppSumo Plus member, you can get it for $44. Definitely worth it. In fact, you could even use Email It with BrandJet to do your cold outreach, as long as you follow the anti-spam laws and of course are a good email citizen. But you would always do that, right? Okay, so one of the first things you'll do when you get a new BrandJet account is connect up your accounts. The ones that they recommend most are going to be email as well as LinkedIn. Now, for email, they do support Google, Outlook, and SMTP. And then these are the social channels that are supported. We've got LinkedIn, Instagram, WhatsApp, X/Twitter, Telegram, and Reddit. As part of the onboarding process, you enter in your domain name. Maybe I'll just take you through that now. We'll go up here to the selector and you can see I can actually add in a new brand. I get 6 brands on my account. I have the AppSumo tier 4 just because it unlocks a few of the features that are restricted. So I wanted to get the big one to show you how everything works. But this is the onboarding. Like when you get a fresh account, this is what it's going to look like. So you could enter in your domain name. I'll just use AppSumo here and then choose find customers. Now, obviously you would use your company name, and then what it's going to do is go out and research the brand, give you a summary of who it thinks you're looking to work with, which we're going to see here momentarily. And then it's actually going to find your first leads as well, searching on LinkedIn for ideal candidates. So here it says that AppSumo sells a range of software solutions designed to help businesses automate tasks, manage outreach, blah, blah, blah. AI type of copy here. Not that it's bad, but it doesn't quite hit the mark. And it did this for me as well. It talks about like who the end user is, but who is AppSumo actually hoping to attract if they were to do cold outreach? It's not people to buy LTDs. It's people that make products that they want to sell as LTDs. That's how AppSumo is going to make some money. So I'd probably refine this. Now, the good news is here, you can edit it. Some tools are very restrictive about this. It's like, we've defined you and we know you better than you do. You can't change this, but you can change what you sell here and who needs it. The one part I'd say could use a little bit of improvement is setting your goal. There's really only 3 options, which is to get them on a call, to try the product, or to get your name out there. And I feel like people have so many more goals than that, even if it was to engage with them via email, right? Because not everyone wants to jump on calls. If you're doing cold outreach, maybe calls is not the thing you want to do. So maybe a customizable, just fill in the blank here would be ideal for that. But on the flip side of things, you can see that it found a bunch of people, almost 500,000 that, AppSumo's got a pretty decent addressable market here. So there's 500,000 people that meet their ICP if they're just trying to sell software, which of course they're not. They're actually looking for software founders, developers to help them with their marketing. So what's kind of cool here is as I update the description, if I just click away here and wait for a second, it's going to update the search and actually find new customers for me. So I just have to wait a second and I'll just update this. I want to get them on a call. I'll hit save. And now that I've hit save, it will update this search momentarily. There we go. Now it is doing a brand new search, hopefully finding software developers based on what I typed in here. And this definitely was just done very quickly. I could have put a little bit more time into it, but you can see it's now updating with a new list. It's still got 500,000 and we're getting like giant brands like Boston Scientific and Thomson Reuters. So while the idea is good, the execution is, I can tell you that it found these types of candidates for my WordPress support business as well. So it's going to take a little bit more refinement. Bottom line, slick onboarding process, needs a little bit of work. So I could hit let's reach them, and then basically I'd be taken into the dashboard. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to use one of my slots on AppSumo. So we'll head back over to my company and see how everything works there. I'd added it anyways, no big deal. We can remove that later, I'm sure. I'm going to get this question, so let me just answer it here. I switch over to the AppSumo brand, gone to brand settings, and there is a button to delete the brand. So you can remove brands once they've been added. Notably, on the AppSumo deal page itself, it doesn't mention how many brands you get with each account. So I have tier 4. I can only tell you that gives you 6 accounts. So I assume it's going to be like 1, 2, 4, 6, something like that. It's an assumption, but definitely ask in the AppSumo deal page if you want to know exactly what each one comes with. They could probably update the table here with that. Okay, so let's just go through each feature. We'll start off with the lead finder. I do find that the core offering here could be ordered, I think, a little bit more logically, because you're always going to start off by looking for leads, right? So maybe that could be up near the top just to get people who have never used cold outreach before in the right mindset of what they're trying to do. So in the lead finder, this is credit based. Now you do get a set of credits based on the plan that you buy, and this is a one-time credit. So on tier 4, we get 15,000, but if you're starting off with the $69 plan, you're only gonna get 1,000 credits. So you'll be able to use those up a lot faster. And the good news is the credits are not super expensive. The more credits you buy, obviously the better deal you're gonna get. But if you buy 500 credits, they'll be a little over a penny and a half each. And if you go all the way up to 50,000 credits, you're gonna get them for less than a penny each. So if you're doing a ton of outreach, this is certainly not gonna break the budget. Now, overall, the filters here are very much like what you might see on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, where you can go ahead and search by job title or even first and last name if you know specifically who you're looking for. I'll go ahead and do a search here quickly so you can see what some results look like. So I'm just going to search for the job title affiliate manager and no other details provided. I could look for an email domain if I knew, I was trying to reach this particular company. I could look for a city and state. I could include certain domains while excluding others, look for a company size. So lots of different filters here. We can even get into the specific industry, what their LinkedIn information is. But for now, I'm just going to look for affiliate managers as a job title, kind of cast a very wide net here. And here we go. I've got a long list of affiliate managers. You'll notice that their email addresses are blurred out. I am not doing that. That's actually blurred out. Now, if I wanted to reveal them, it's going to cost me 2 credits per reveal. So that is the cost of admission here. Now, let's say I was like, oh, I really want to talk to Brittany from High Level. I'm definitely going to reach out to her. I can reveal her email here, or I can check this box and then add her to one of my lists, even directly to an automated campaign. Now, these are all LinkedIn profiles, by the way, as you can see from the in icon next to each name. I don't have any evidence that it's going to pull in contacts from another source. I think it's all coming from LinkedIn, but you can get the email address revealed without having to pay for a LinkedIn Sales Navigator account. So that's kind of a win because Sales Navigator can be expensive. And I did go ahead and reveal Brittany's email address. It does look authentic to me. I wouldn't know if it was or wasn't. I don't know Brittany at all. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be fairly reliable in terms of reaching the right people that you want to do outreach to. There's the ability to save your searches as well. So if I want to come back to this, I can give it a name. I'll just call it affiliate managers and hit save. Now that's going to be stored. So if I want to come back another day, I won't have to fill out the filters exactly the same. Now, my search was simple, but yours might be a lot more complex. I am going to add Brittany to my list here. You can see I've got one contact selected. I'll choose add to list, and then I can go ahead and choose the list that I want to add her to. Right now I've got the lead list. I could also add her to a campaign down here, or just download it as a CSV if I want to save it to my computer. Now what I'm actually going to do is just create a brand new list. At the bottom it says create new list. I'll call this one demo, and then save this rows to list. By the way, that does cost an additional credit to save that contact to a list. So the credits will be spent more quickly than you might imagine, but I still feel like they're reasonably priced. Okay, so we've got our leads, then we're gonna head over to the campaign section where we can actually plan our outreach. I've got a demo campaign already created here, so I'm just gonna walk you through this. Overall, it's very simple to set up. You know what, maybe we should do one from the beginning because it does have a nice little 4-step process, so you can see that from the very beginning. So I'll go back into the demo one, but let's create one from scratch. I'll choose create campaign, and here's that 4-step process I was talking about. So the first step is gather your leads. I guess this is similar to what I was saying on the main dashboard, like put leads near the top. That's what you need to do first. So we can import our leads, which can come from a CSV file. So if I downloaded it before, I could re-upload it. Of course, it can find your lists as well. So you can see your existing lists here. I'll go ahead and find my demo list. There it is, and I'll import the one lead. And now it's loading up that list. We can see Brittany here, and I can move over to step number 2, which is to choose which accounts I would like to use. Now, you'll want to probably connect up these accounts in advance, but currently I've got my LinkedIn connected as well as my Gmail. Word of note, if you're doing cold outreach, probably not a good idea to use your primary domain name. I've got mine connected here just for, testing purposes. If I was going to do cold outreach on this platform, I definitely would get a secondary domain, something related to my primary domain, like, clientamp.net or clientamp.io, and use that for the cold outreach so that I keep the main domain deliverability pristine, because domain reputation is a real thing. So I can choose which accounts I want to use here. I'm going to go ahead and just choose email for this sake. And then we can head to the next section, which is the sequence. What is actually going to happen? Now, it's important to note as we're moving on here that you can have multiple LinkedIn accounts, you can have multiple email address accounts. So in this account screen, you want to set up the ones that you're going to use for this particular campaign. And that's why you go through this screen to say like, all right, if I'm reaching out on LinkedIn, let's use Dave's LinkedIn account rather than, another employee's that's also involved in the automation process. And now we can start to build out our campaign. Now, one thing that they don't do is provide you any sort of templates to get started, and I really wished they did. There is a modal pop-up, at least the first time I used the tool, that asked me if I'd like to talk to someone about getting set up with my first campaigns to help me learn the platform. And it seemed like it was going to be an in-person meeting or like a Zoom meeting or something like that. I don't really have any desire to do that. So I wish they maybe just had some templates to start from to get some ideas for what they recommend for doing cold outreach, particularly useful for people who have never done cold outreach before. But let's go ahead and plan out a campaign here. It's pretty easy to get started. Even though I didn't choose LinkedIn in the previous step, so this campaign would fail, even though I didn't choose LinkedIn as one of my accounts, I'm going to show you what a LinkedIn outreach might look like. So the first thing I'm going to do is visit the profile, right? So campaign start, and then immediately I'll go to the profile. It says no LinkedIn account selected. So we knew that was going to happen. Next, I could, let's say, like one of their posts. So I'll do a post reaction, and then I'll click right here and I can choose, I'm going to give them a thumbs up. Okay, great. Now there's a 1-day delay between the initial visit and the thumbs up. Maybe after this, the next logical thing to do would either be to send them a message or try to connect with them, right? So I could send a connection invite on LinkedIn. I'll wait 2 days to that. You can see this is like an infinite canvas, right? So I can use my scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Very usable platform here, or at least the interface is nice and smooth. So I'm gonna wait 2 days and then I'll send the invitation. If they accept, I can send them a message here, a chat message. Now clicking into this, they actually do have some templates. So if I wanted to do an introduction, I can go ahead and hit use template, and then here's a message that they could send about the connection. So this particular message may have been better to send beforehand, because it's like, I look forward to connecting with you. And this is after we've been connected, but you get the idea. I could send one message if they accept, and if they reject me, I could do something else. I could, try to message them over email, like, hey, I tried to reach out to you on LinkedIn, got turned down. You get the point here. There's lots of platforms we can connect with as well. So if you're able to scrape their X profile, you could engage with them over there. If you're able to find them on Telegram, you could message them over there. Often these automation builders can just feel really overwhelming, but I feel like this one is pretty smooth and simple. Like there's just a list of things that you can do. I wish they were categorized because they're clearly divided. And just at first glance, it seems like these are all of the initial outreach. And then this is more of like the technical thing, like it has a LinkedIn URL. So this is like an if statement almost. And I wish it just made that a little bit more clear in the UI here, just to know exactly what I'm doing. But overall, the automation builder is super simple. So at this point, I'm basically done. I've built out my campaign. Now, obviously this one is not complete, but I could head over to the launch screen and go ahead and turn this thing on, and I'd start to get some results, good or bad, they would show up. Now, because I've got a bunch of errors here, I've basically been trying to send messages through LinkedIn without having a LinkedIn campaign connected. I do get this error message, which is actually nice to see that they're gonna alert you if things are done improperly. I like that you're able to set this whole thing up actually rather than kind of roadblocking you, you must have a LinkedIn account. This will let you practice and kind of get your campaign set up before you connect up your accounts. Determine whether you want to use this platform, if it does what you need. If it does, cool, you can go back, connect your accounts. If it doesn't, you just refund to AppSumo, no big deal. Every campaign does have settings, by the way. Let's check these out real quick. We can give it a name and a description, but more importantly, our schedule. We can start it right away, or we can schedule it for some time in the future. And we can have it run on specific days of the week, so you're not messaging people on the weekend. You can also respect their time zone, set a max number of new leads per day, and prioritize new leads over scheduled follow-ups so that as people are coming in, they're getting attention right away. There's also some email settings over here, so you can make sure you're managing your email domain. Basically, this is about stopping sending emails. This first setting is anyway. So if they reply to a message, then we want to stop the campaign, right? Because they've said something to us and we need a human in the loop to actually engage. If they click on a link or open an email, you can turn that on as well. Now, what I don't like about this is that it is a single select radio versus a multi-select checkbox. So maybe I want to stop sending the messages if they reply to a message or if they click on a link. Well, right now it's just one or the other. We do have some other useful cold outreach settings here, like provider matching. So you'll match the sender and recipient providers. If they're on Outlook, you'll use your Outlook account. If they're on Gmail, you'll use your Gmail account. It's one way to have a better chance of hitting the inbox. We've got some CC and BCC settings down here. Your email tracking, which can be useful for analytics, but can be a negative when it comes to actually hitting the inbox. It makes it more suspicious if you have that. It's very clear to the email companies that it's marketing or outreach email. Then we've got UTM tracking. So if you want to do some actual analytics about what they're clicking on inside of the links, this will show up over in your analytics platform, such as Google Analytics, as they mentioned here. And then we've got compliance. If you want to be GDPR compliant and CAN Spam Act compliant, just turn these on and it will magically make your emails legitimate, right? Now, basically what this is going to do is add the unsubscribe link in footer, which I think you still actually need permission to email people marketing messages. I don't think you can just do that because you put an unsubscribe link, but I'm not a lawyer, so check with your local LLM or actual professional for more information on that. There's always like, can you do this and should you do this? And those are not always the same thing. So you have to weigh what's right for your brand, the way you want to be perceived online. Okay, so that is campaigns. Let's jump out and we'll look at some of the other settings here. There is a inbox as well as a CRM. So I don't have anything in here yet because I've not sent out any messages from this newly created account. But essentially, this is going to be all of the conversations that come in as a result of your campaign. So just to be clear, this is not a replacement for your regular email client. It's not going to show all of the messages that come into your connected account. Instead, it will be responses to the campaign. So I've got my regular old Gmail connected to this right now. I'm getting emails. They do not show up in the inbox, which is actually desirable. I don't want everything being pulled in here. So to be clear, that is how that works. There's an inbox, a sent box, unread, starred, and then we can categorize things as either interested, not interested, or out of the office. There's some snippets so that if you want to be able to reuse bits of information, you can do that. So I can do an email snippet here. And essentially this is going to be like a little shortcut that it's easy for me to pull up. So for example, here, I've got some placeholders. Hey, first name, I'm Dave, and I really admire what you're doing at company name. Hit create. And now when I check my emails and I want to send a message back, I can easily grab this snippet and just drop it into all of the messages that, now this would be better for like cold outreach, but you get the point. I'm just demonstrating how the feature works. Okay, let's head back to the dashboard. In addition to the inbox, we've also got a CRM, which is going to show us all of our leads. Now we'll be able to keep track of the contact that we've had with people through the campaigns, through the inbox, inside of the CRM. It's also going to pull in just all of the leads that we have. So I've got some leads here. We can also see Brittany that we've got from the initial lead scraping. And there's a stage selector. So we can do new lead, contacted, qualified, proposal, won, and lost. There's also an assignee, so we can connect this person up to a salesperson or an account manager for that particular lead. You can set their status over here from warm, cold, lost, sold, or needs follow-up. Of course, you can create custom statuses here as well to fit your business. Choose which list they are on, and we can see when they were actually created over here. Clicking on the name of the person does show you a more detailed look at who they are. Now this one is not very enriched because it was one of the initial leads that came from when I just presented my information during that first onboarding, but I can see the timeline of all of our engagements, any notes I've had, as well as previous conversations. And if I want to link a conversation that didn't get pulled in automatically, I could do it here. Okay, so that's the cold outreach section of the tool. This is they call core here, but there's an entirely different section called monitoring, and this has 4 components. One is more of a traditional social monitoring, so I'll choose mentions, get started, and then I can start monitoring for specific keywords. Now it knows my website. This is clientamp.com, the brand I'm on. So it's going to suggest some keywords that might be related to my brand. So I think there is like a CSS issue here, by the way, because as you can see, some of the keywords I can't even get to up at the top. Now, if I remove one, yeah, then they all display. But as it is to start, you can't see all of them. It does create 20 for you. You get a maximum of 20 keywords. And if you want more, you have to pay extra. So let me just show you as I go up here. I'll add WordPress support as one of my monitoring words. And now I can upgrade my plan if I wanted to get more than 20 keywords. So this would be taking you out of the LTD ecosystem and going to one of their paid monthly plans. These are the platforms you can monitor on: X, LinkedIn, news feeds, this would be like RSS, TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit. And then you just hit start watching and it's gonna start monitoring for you. Now it says you can only have up to 10 exact keywords. Kind of interesting, we get this error because they suggested the keywords themselves and said I got 20. Okay, I deleted 10 out of the 20. Let's go ahead and start watching these and hopefully all goes smoothly. All right, that seemed to have done the trick. As you can see here, it is now collecting my mentions, although I am down from 20 keywords tracked down to 10, but it does appear to be working at this point, and I have a little dashboard where the mentions will start to come in. It usually takes 1 to 2 minutes, so I should have something here to show you in a moment. While we are waiting for that, I'll talk about Artemis, because you'll see that all over the screen here. There's an Artemis here, there's an Artemis here. On the previous, like I think in the inbox, there's a logo for Artemis. Ask Artemis is down here. So that is their AI assistant. They're basically where it has access to your entire account and it can go ahead and give you advice on what to do next. Now, Artemis is bring your own key, but it can also use those initial credits that you are provided. So let's say I wanted to import leads to a campaign. I can just choose one of their preset. Of course, I can type anything I want here, but I can choose one of their preset commands as well. And then Artemis is going to launch and basically ask me what leads I want to import. And there we go. It came back with my campaigns as well as my lead lists and asked which campaigns I would like to add the leads to. Basically, we have a little agent here that can help us out. Let's do a fresh start here. And let's say I'm going to launch a new campaign. In fact, I've got a prompt here. I want to build out a full campaign to conduct LinkedIn outreach, and then Artemis can interview me and go ahead and build this on my behalf. So it gives me a rundown of what it's going to do. It's going to create a campaign structure, set it up to use my existing lead list, and show me how to connect LinkedIn so the campaign can send messages. That's important because I've already got LinkedIn connected, although it's not working for me. So when I was connecting my LinkedIn account before, it got stuck on pending. I reached out to their support before hitting record for this video, and they told me they were going to be right on it to fix it. And actually, while I was recording the video, they let me know that it was fixed and to try it again. So this is a perfect test for the video. Let's hit add account, LinkedIn, and then connect account. Now I'm going to be given 2 options here in a moment. One is to use my username and password to log in. So you can see the normal conventional way to log in, or I could use cookies to log in. I used credentials before, and my guess is that they are probably running into some sort of a proxy issue. In fact, you can bring your own proxies here if you'd like. They've been on AppSumo a couple of days. They've probably gotten an influx of a lot of new users, and LinkedIn might be, I'm just speculating, could be trying to curtail the number of users coming in through those IP addresses. So a more practical way to do this, but maybe less secure, would be to use your cookies. The reason I say less secure is that with credentials, you have 2-factor authentication. It's always going to send you a message to validate who you are. With cookies, well, I think anyone who has the cookies will be able to access your account, so it's a little bit riskier. But if you do want to use the cookies method, this is how you do it. Log into LinkedIn as normal, right click and inspect the page. So basically go into your developer tools, and then you'll go to the application tab, and under storage, you'll find cookies, and you'll choose the LinkedIn option here. And you're simply going to look for the cookie that starts with li_at. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to show you my cookies here, but then paste them in and log in. At this point, it says account successfully added. I can close this out. And now my LinkedIn account is connected. So from my experience, trying it multiple times, the credentials route was not working, but going through the cookies route does. Just keep in mind that you'll want to keep a close eye on it and make sure that it's not doing things a little bit more aggressively than you like. Now, the good news here is there are limits built in. So when you connect up your account, they're going to have some maximum interactions. So max 40 interactions per day, and then an hourly limit as well, 2 per hour. So you can go through the different settings here. So for connections, messages, profile visits, and reactions, just so you don't look too bawdy, because no one is online 20 hours a day just liking things on LinkedIn. We don't want to get our accounts banned, right, folks? All right, let's check on our mentions. Now that that is populated here, we've got quite a bit of information. You can see it's got 144 mentions that have come in. It tries to rank based on the buying signals, pain points, general discussions, and I can see the actual messages here. So I could jump in, I could view the mention, I could actually reply right inside of the interface here, and even add them to my leads so that they could be a part of an upcoming campaign. Now below mentions, we also have competitors. This is where you can add in similar businesses to do some reconnaissance on what they're up to. So just click add competitor up here, enter in the domain name. So I'll choose AppSumo here, obviously not a competitor, but it's going to scan their website. It's going to look what platforms they might be interacting on, and then it will start monitoring mentions all of your competitors across different social platforms. So I did WP buffs over here. It's going to track them on Reddit, X, and YouTube, as well as via RSS. Now, if you buy one of the beefier AppSumo plans, you'll also get AI monitoring. This is only going to be available on tiers 3 and 4. What this is going to let you do is much more advanced monitoring that is filtered basically through an LLM to find the cream of the crop. So I can create a new AI monitor here. These are the style of monitors that we can create: organic search, search queries, brand mentions, sentiment analysis, crisis monitoring, competitor analysis, customer feedback, industry feedback, or you can create your own custom monitor right here. Let's start off with, let's do crisis monitoring. So they give us some examples of, is a brand having issues right now? Why are people so upset with a brand? Or brand data breach or security problems. So let's say, I do a lot of sponsored video for AppSumo. Let's say I want to find out if people are mad about something that happened at AppSumo. That would never happen. Well, I can do crisis monitoring for it here. I would just enter in the brand name. Now, I have not added them as a competitor yet, but let's say I wanted to monitor AppSumo as a competitor, then I could keep track of that online. So that's kind of how those two components come together, tracking your competitors, and then we can monitor if they're mentioned through this method with AI. One last feature here under monitoring, and that is website analysis. I went ahead and installed this on my website. You can see I've got a couple visitors. I just added it a few moments ago, and it's gonna do some basic analytics for you. This probably won't replace everything that you want out of an analytics tool, but we can see the channels that people are coming in through. We can see their entry page and exit link, what types of tools they were using, Chrome or Safari in this case, what OS they were on, as well as what language they speak, a map of their countries and what cities they were in. And yeah, that's basically how the analytics work. Not overwhelmingly amazing, but if you want to have something, well, that's baked in for free, kind of like an extra bonus. You get this also. And if you've been watching this review and you're thinking, gosh, this product looks pretty good, but I don't like all the clicking around. I wish the AI would just do all the work for me. Well, there are AI agents. It's not going to do everything for you, but there's just a couple of features here that are built in. We can do mention replies. So if someone is mentioning you, your brand mention, you can reply automatically. That seems a little risky. I don't know if I'm willing to do that quite yet, but there is also a lead collector here, which seems a little bit more useful. So you can collect leads from social mentions and then add them to your lead list. And this is just done through a plain text prompt. So I want an agent that looks for people who mention our brand on Twitter or LinkedIn, and then go ahead and add them to a lead list is basically how this would work. Now, before we head over to the deal page and talk about the specifics of pricing and plans, I just want to mention over on the mentions page itself, there is a sentiment analysis. So you can see here that AI is detecting the tone of brand mentions. And this is something that is reserved for a higher tier plan. So advanced sentiment analysis is reserved for tier 4. One reason that you might want to upgrade, I just wanted to call that out here because it really is the only thing that's reserved for tier 4, except for just getting higher limits. So you get more accounts, more X accounts, more of everything basically on tier 4. But yeah, I guess we're here on the deal page. Let's wrap this up by talking about the specific deals. So if you want unlimited emails, you go to tier 3, you get fewer emails on tiers 1 and 2. So yeah, tier 3 is looking like the sweet spot here for most people because you're going to get all of the features except for that advanced sentiment analysis. The things that are left off of the tiers 1 and 2 are going to be the AI search monitoring. So remember that feature I just showed you, as well as brand monitoring. You don't get that on tier 1. Overall, BrandJet is a pretty impressive platform. I think if it only did the social monitoring itself, it still would be a good value. And adding in a cold outreach platform on top of it definitely makes it much more worth it. If you're new to cold outreach, I particularly think BrandJet is a good entry point. Having the AI assistant baked right in is really helpful because then you can ask for advice and it's not going to give you general advice about doing cold outreach. Instead, it's going to actually look into your account and find the contacts and campaigns that you've already got set up and give you specific advice on what you might want to do next. For a newbie or just someone who's been doing it for years and is tired of doing the same old tricks, I do think that is something that will be very helpful in the long run. However, it is BYOK, so you'll have to pony up for your own API key. The fees for it will be very, very small. Well, I mean, depending on how much you use it, I think on average, you're not going to be spending a ton on Artemis. Overall, BrandJet is a very impressive platform. I'm going to go ahead and score it a 7.3 out of 10. If you're looking to get into cold outreach, I definitely would not hesitate to try BrandJet. I think it's a very accessible platform. And even if you've been doing it for years, you just want to have a new interface and try some new things, I think BrandJet is definitely worth it. I love the fact that they added in the social monitoring component. Like I said before, that could be an entirely separate tool on its own that you have to pay for on a monthly basis. So go ahead and give this one a shot if you like. Of course, you got the AppSumo 60-day refund policy. So if it doesn't work out, just go ahead and refund it. My name is Dave, by the way. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you want more from me, I recommend going to my website. I've got blog posts for every single video that I have released. There's also a uses section, the what I use, where if you're interested in my workflow, the tools that stick with me on a day-to-day basis, I've got that documented there in about a half a dozen or so posts. Go ahead and check that out. And hey, while you're there, get signed up for the free email newsletter that comes out every single Tuesday. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, hit me up in the comments with any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.